So last night was the post all in, easy for me to say, all in edition of Dynamite, and it was a very, I guess people would say, very lackluster show, if you will. Like the first part of it, like the first four, like the first part of it, the first 30 minutes mainly were good, but then it just went downhill from there. Even with Ricochet making his AEW Dynamite debut in the main event against Kyle Fletcher. But it was newsworthy. It was newsworthy. We did get a couple of matches pretty much announced, if not teased, for All Out, which is a week from Sunday in Chicago. We pretty much got it confirmed that Statlander and Nightingale will meet for the CMLL Women's World Title in a Chicago street fight. It has been confirmed that it'll be Pac, P-A-C, taking on Will Ospreay for the International Championship. We know it's going to be MJF and Daniel Garcia one-on-one at All Out. We do know that it's going to be in a steel cage, Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page, once again, which I think is going to be a very violent steel cage match. And the reason they're doing it in story is because, Hangman believes that Swerve can't beat him by himself. And Swerve's like, hey, you don't think I can beat you? Fine. Let's just make it between you and me. Nobody interferes. And, just, go from there. Just settle it there. And that might build to something bigger. That might build to a fact that Hangman will want more matches afterwards. Because, this would only make him, 2 and 2 and 1. Hangman would want that decisive match. He'd say, hey, we're not done yet. You got 2 wins. I've got, it's like you got 2 wins. Or not 2 and 2, but basically make it, 3, 1, and 1. Or 2 and 1, 2 and 1 and 1. And Hangman would be like, hey, I want more and more match. And then we're going to set, that way we settle this once and for all. We're done. So I could see it building to another match, but how do you top, Texas Death Match? How do you, top a steel cage match? It's going to be interesting what they do. And the only thing I can think of is that barbed wire exploding match. But if they go there, that could only be done, maybe, I would assume, at Wrestle Dream, if not Full Gear. That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe even World's End. But it's the only other match I can think of outside of the cage. Now, with that said, we also got confirmed, or at least teased and probably confirmed by now, it's going to be Jack Perry and Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. And again, you got to factor in that wild card of Christian Cage possibly playing a factor down the line. But then that would be interesting too, because you got this history between, Cage and Perry. How will that play in, to the future? How will that play into, Cage basically intervening and wanting to basically steal something away from Perry once again, like he stole Killswitch. So that could be something they look into as well. But we do know that those are the matches coming out of Dynamite for All Out. We do know more matches may be announced. We'll see. But the big thing that people are talking about outside of some of those matches being announced and confirmed for All Out and being teased, confirmed for All Out, the other big news that people are talking about is what Jon Moxley said. Jon Moxley made his return at the beginning of Dynamite, wanted to talk to Darby Allin. Darby Allin wasn't there because of, he has time off and wants to heal up from his injuries and stuff. But, Jon Moxley wants to talk to Darby Allin and basically says, hey, I'm not a hard man to find, but it's a long overdue talk. And then, before he actually leaves the ring, he goes back to Tony Schiavone, and then I guess because he knows Tony has the other Tony in his ear, Tony Khan, he tells Schiavone, I guess he tells Schiavone to, relay a message through the earpiece to Tony Khan that it's going to take time for people to wrap their brains around this, but this is not your company anymore. And it's got people wondering, what does he mean by that, right? And then later on, we see him being asked by a cameraman, like, okay, what did you mean by that statement? Only for, him to, only for him trying to think about the right things to say here. only for him to basically walk by a couple of, I guess you could say backstage personnel or enhancement talent, saying wrong time, wrong place, or something like that. And all of a sudden, we see this woman attack these people. And this woman turns out to be Marina Shafir, who is the wife, I believe, fiance, whatever, of Roderick Strong. So it's like, okay, what does she have to do with this and everything? What's going on? And a lot of people have assumed that, the one thing a lot of people have been assuming since this moment, since he said what he did in the ring, and since we saw what's going on now with Marina involved, people have been assuming that this, does this mean, is this hinting, at, Shane McMahon? Because we know that Shane and Tony Khan met. The picture is out there and everything. Does this mean that Shane is going to be coming in very soon? And I would have to assume that it does mean that. I would have to assume it does mean something, to that effect. And one thing that Monster said last night, which I thought was really interesting, is the fact that you got this TV media rights deal coming up. We have yet to hear anything about it. Tony's obviously hinting at it's going to be a big one. It's going to be, announced soon. But Monster actually came up with a good theory. And that theory is, what if when this announcement is made, whether it's at All Out, at Grand Slam, Wrestle Dream, or whatever, I would assume Grand Slam at the latest. What if it's announced that not only are they staying on TNT, but there's a caveat, there's a catch. And in storyline, that catch is that there's going to be a new co-owner of AEW, and out comes Shane McMahon. Maybe he comes out to a AEW rendition of, No Chance in Hell. Maybe he comes out to an AEW rendition of Here Comes the Money. Maybe he's got the rights to Here Comes the Money, because we know that Tony Khan, if the money, is available to him, he will buy the rights to certain theme songs. We saw him buy the rights to, incorporate the Hardys music, but I guess the Hardys own the rights to that anyway. But point is, he was able to do that. He was able to do some other stuff, which was, theme song wise, entrance theme wise, that surprised a lot of people. So people, so he could, if he wants to, shell out the money. Maybe Shane has the rights to them as well. Shell out the money and say, hey, let's get your Here Comes the Money deal as your theme. They could do that. But that, again, this has got people thinking, is Shane, and so, again, Monster, credit to him, came up with a good solution. He came up with a good, possibility that if the TV rights deal is announced on TV, what if the catch is, hey, Shane McMahon comes in as the new co-owner, and, basically as the co-owner, he's going to want to do something that, a lot of fans have been wanting, and that's split the rosters in half. Give one half of the roster to Collision, keep the other half of the roster on Dynamite, and then use Rampage as it was intended as a hybrid for those of both rosters, but in their own separate roster matches. Like, talent that's on Collision only fights talent that's on Collision. Talent that's on Dynamite only fights talent that's on Dynamite, and so on. And, that could be something that happens. He could be brought in as the new co-owner. Now, the other thing, too, is, if he is part of the deal in storyline, for this new TV rights deal, if he is part of it, maybe he's not just brought in as a co-owner. Maybe he's brought in as a mentor to Tony Khan. Like, maybe they use the opportunity to address a lot of the flaws fans have been mentioning I've been mentioning online about AEW and Tony Khan. Maybe in story they use this to, kind of have Shane be somebody that Tony Khan can, learn from. Basically learn to be a boss, to separate the difference between being a fan and being a boss, and not to always sign, certain talents to contracts, that might be free on the market because you want to have your dream matches, you want to have your dream roster and everything, that you need to make the right decisions, that even if it's tempting to sign, let's say, a Ricochet or a Rebecca Quinn, a.k.a. Becky Lynch, or whoever, even though it might be tempting to do so because you want to put dream matches together, you want to have a dream roster, that maybe it's not the best time. That maybe you need to focus more on who you have and what you have and go forward with that. And that might be something that happens too. We're not really sure. We're not really sure. I mean, again, this is why when Moxley said what he did, like, hey, it's going to take you guys time to wrap your brains around this, that obviously was the intention. It's like, okay, you got to think. Okay, what does he mean by this is not your company anymore? Does this mean we're getting Shane? What is going on? What is going on? Are they going to do an invasion angle and everything? Which, it's kind of weird. You do that because it'd be more like it wouldn't be just an invasion angle. It'd be more like I guess you could say, in-house invasion angle, if you will. It'd be an in-house deal. And they're already doing that with the Elite, failing, but they already did that. They tried that with the Elite, and the people associated with them. And they're failing at that. They tried that, I think, with America's Top Team, at the beginning of the company's existence. And that failed. So the question is, what difference does it make? What difference does it make if we have another, invasion in-house, if you will? What difference does that make? And it could make a lot of difference, because, it could be the kind of invasion that, and I do apologize for that notification there, email notification, or text notification, but it could be the kind of invasion that's not only in-house, but basically the kind of invasion that's done by those that, like, let's say a Marina Shafir, that have felt that they've been held down. Like, Tony Khan signs them to these contracts for so many years, and he promises them opportunities. What is the opportunity? He's focused more on these talents and these talents instead of who he signed. So, could that be what the invasion is? It's this, in-house invasion done by those, led by Moxley, led by McMahon, that, feel Tony lied to them, and, they want, the opportunities he promised. Could that be it? And could Marina Shafir be the first among them? Could she be the first among them? Could one of the things, that gets promoted throughout this is, hey, we're here to get our opportunities, that you promised and that you lied to us about. And the only reason you won't give us those opportunities is because you put us in the ring with certain talent. Not only will we beat them, but we'll expose them for who they are. And I could see some kind of a promo like that coming out. Like, I could see Marina saying, hey, you don't want to put me in the ring with Mercedes because, I'll expose her. That leads to a match. And in story, Marina does exactly what she said. She beats Mercedes and in a way exposes her. Maybe, and I know this sounds kind of crazy to, make part of the storyline. Maybe you have, a stipulation in there to the point that, whoever on the Shane Moxley side of things beats those on the Tony Khan side of things, that, the people that, represent TK, like let's say a Mercedes, I'm not saying they would do this, but I could see them adding a stipulation that, hey, if we beat your guys TK, we have a ring in the back, or we have a ring rented out at a certain facility. How, if they don't beat our guys, they have to go there and train until they take this seriously. And like, let's say, again, going back to Marina and Mercedes, if that was to happen, I could see Mercedes having to be put over there and train, and then maybe, at the end of the night, we catch up with her in that ring, either in the backstage of the venue they're at, or maybe at the facility that's close by, or even outside, outside the facility. Maybe they do something to where they catch up with Mercedes or whoever, and let's say someone like Mercedes goes like, I get what's going on here, fine. You want me to take this seriously? I'll take it seriously. No more dancing. I won't dance anymore. I won't act like this is the other company where, maybe you have a comment that perhaps you should have just gone back there, like that other company, that your family founded, saying, oh, you want me to be serious? I'll be serious. So I can see that. I can see that happening, but we don't know. We don't know. We'll have to just, wait and see. Again, to quote what Moxley said, it is getting people thinking. It's like, okay, what does this mean? What does he mean by this is not your company anymore? And there's a lot of possibilities that can come out of it. Again, a lot of fingers are pointing in the direction of Shane showing up. And if Shane shows up, again, is he going to show up as a co-owner, of the company and wanted to take a page out of the playbook of WWE from back in 2002 and, just separate the rosters, or maybe take a, page out of the playbook of, 2001 and basically say, hey, let's do what should have been done there and, keep the rosters separate as their own little mini promotions and mini brands and all that. Could that be, why he's coming in? We don't know. Could he be coming into, could he be coming in as, part of the TV deal and not just as a co-owner, but maybe a mentor to Tony Khan that Tony Khan has to train under and learn on how to be a real boss and not a fan. Basically, learn how to, differentiate himself from being the fan he is to being the boss he needs to be. Could that be it? Or could Shane be coming in with Moxley to, along with the underappreciated talent that, Tony has signed, but, has failed to follow through on his promises to basically, give him opportunity to become champions and all that? Could Shane be part of this like in-house invasion and hostile takeover by them to want to, get those opportunities and expose and in story try to expose those that Tony is pushing as not being so great, or not being as good as they are? We'll have to see. We'll have to see what, occurs. But it is interesting. It is interesting to kind of contemplate and theorize. So I got to give AEW credit there that they have something here in, that's very cryptic in, in its messaging by Moxley, which is one of the top guys since the beginning. It's very cryptic that, okay, what is he talking about? What's going on here? Could this be leading to a Shane McMahon, debut, reveal? How is he going to be inserted in? Because again, Solid Monster, I think, has a great point. You could add him in storyline wise as part of the new TV rights deal, and go from there. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they got. We'll have to see what they got in mind, going forward. And obviously they got people's attention as of right now. I mean, it may not, result in many eyes tuning in, over time. But guess what? It's going to get people to want to at least watch the highlights on YouTube and maybe even tune in once in a while to see, what the follow through is going to be, what the end goal is going to be. Because hopefully, in the eyes of people like JD from NY206 of Off the Script and Heel Jesse of Chi-Town Mark and others, this elite storyline has not hit home. It's not hit that home run. It's not hit that grand slam, to coin a phrase, that AEW was hoping for. But we'll have to see. And a lot of people are, even adding in the fact that, well, what if this is the culmination? What if this is the culmination of the entire elite storyline and Shane's a part of the elite? What if that's what this has been building to? Well, if that's the case, then I will put it this way, because let's be real, if that's what the end result's going to be, then obviously it shows you that Tony Khan has a lot of investment in this storyline with the elite, this hostile takeover storyline of the elite. He has a lot invested in it, and he's desperate for people to pay attention, to it and take it seriously and give it, I guess you could say, the respect that, he believes it deserves. That he'd be willing to add Shane McMahon to it as the guy that's backing the Bucks, that's helping the Bucks. But we'll have to see. That's a possibility too. And could that inject life into the elite storyline, the elite hostile takeover storyline? Yes. Yes, it could. But we'll have to see. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, give him credit where it's due. It's got people talking, but is it going to, basically, is it going to result, I'm trying to find the right words to say here again, is it going to result in new eyes, tuning in every week on Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage? Maybe not, but it will definitely result in many eyes tuning into the YouTube page and social media like X, like on X, I should say, and Facebook. It's going to get people to look into those and be like, okay, what is he saying? Is it, what did he mean by this, as they watch that segment? So, and also, like, what does Darby Allin have to do with this? Is Darby Allin in on it? Is that, is he in on it or something like that? Does Moxley have a problem with Darby getting a title shot? We don't know. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment below. Live chat during the premiere if you haven't already. But comment below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description. Get some merchandise there that you can't get anywhere else. It would help me out financially, guys, because my unemployment status as of right now is getting close to pretty much being over unless I start working soon. But yeah, check out my merchandise there. I think you'll enjoy what you see. And again, pick yourself up a T-shirt, a mug, whatever fits your fancy. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, I have my Venmo and Cash App there if you want to help donate that way. It'd be greatly appreciated. Every little bit counts. Also, Super Thanks will be on after this premiere, so you guys can donate that way. And links to where you can find my content elsewhere here on the internet, like Rumble, VENMO, Odyssey, iHeartRadio, Spotify for podcasters. It's all in the description. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation when it comes to Moxley's Cryptic message. This is mean Shane's coming in. What do you think is going to be the result? Is it going to be an in-house invasion, hostile takeover? Is Shane coming in as a co-owner of the company and we split the rosters? Is he coming in as sort of a co-owner / mentor to teach Tony Khan on how to be a real boss and everything and kind of differentiate himself from being a fan and a boss, kind of learn that difference? Let me know. And until then, I will talk to y'all later. Peace out. God bless.